My wife got a promotion at work and completely changed. She's not the woman I used to know. I met my wife when I was 15 in high school, she was 17. The latter part of my teenage years was probably the hardest of my life because, in half a year, I lost my mother. I never knew my dad, so she was the only thing I could consider family. At that time, my wife and I were only friends, but she was there for me and grieved with me. I think I started developing feelings for her during that time. We started dating when I was 17, and we got married 7 years later. For context, my wife was very frugal and unmaterialistic. She never cared about clothes, makeup, brands, cars, etc. Always spending money on thrift shops or during sales on whatever she liked. I remember trying to impress her with my Nissan 370Z, just for her to react with, "What car is this? A Corolla?" So yeah, I think you get the type, but that's what I liked about her the most, and also, she was the most caring person I ever knew. In our family, she's the successful one, always working in big corporations. Regarding myself, I always worked as a community first responder for my local hospital. The salary wasn't high, but I loved my job, helping people as much as I could. Fast forward, 2 years ago, she received an offer from an important company for an executive position, offering 4 times her salary, and let me tell you, her salary back then wasn't bad by any means, but we would have to move to a different city. At first, I was doubtful since that would have meant losing my job and not being sure if I could have contributed financially to our family for an indefinite time period. However, she said that she could sustain the family effortlessly with this new job, and during that time, I could look after the house and groceries until I could find a new job. Since she was so enthusiastic, I accepted. I was happy to support my wife's career. Well, the best way I can put it is that my wife underwent a crazy transformation. Some Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type thing, if you know what I mean. She started caring more and more about luxury brands, jewels, cars, etc. I don't think you can quite imagine my disbelief seeing her coming back home with a Versace bag after seeing her for years wearing $10 coats from our local thrift shop. She also started hanging out with her new female coworkers a lot. My wife isn't very extroverted or very social, so that was quite a shock, but I was very happy for her. I thought that she finally found her dimension after years of struggling, but that happiness started fading after she began coming home later every day. It got to a point where it was a miracle to be able to talk to her for just 10 minutes. I thought she was very busy with work, until she started posting lots of photos of herself with her coworkers drinking, going shopping, and other stuff. The fun part is, she never finds time to reply to my texts, but she always has a minute to post photos, and when she replies, she says that she's busy. Recently, she has stopped saying things to me altogether. Have you ever experienced your partner going to work with an Audi A3 and then coming back home with a Porsche Macan GTS? Well, I did, and let me tell you, it's no fun. I confronted her on whether it was a business-issued car, which it isn't, and then on why she spent so much money on a car when she didn't care about cars. Her passive-aggressive response was that it's her money, and that she is entitled to do as she pleases. On a different occasion, I didn't see her come back home one night, and she wasn't replying to me at all. I was worried for her, only to receive a call the following afternoon, saying that she forgot to tell me that she left for a business trip. That felt absolutely dreadful. But the worst is when she invited me for lunch with her coworkers. I was very happy because that was the first time we were doing something together in months, and I thought that what I've experienced before was only a phase and that it had all ended. My wife left first because she had work to do, so I dressed up nicely and left 2 hours later for the scheduled restaurant. For context, I had sold my Nissan 370Z years before because I didn't need a sports car anymore, so my daily driver is a very frugal Renault Clio. I like it, and since I don't need much, I don't have reasons to upgrade to a pricier model or brand. Well, I get to the restaurant, park my car in front of it, and go inside only to see my wife staring at me in horror. She gets up from the table and takes me outside of the restaurant, then proceeds to literally insult me for parking my car in front of the restaurant and in front of her table, saying that I embarrassed her and that I should have parked it somewhere hidden. I was completely at a loss for words. I asked her why, and she said that it was a cheap, non-luxury car, not representative of her lifestyle. She then goes back inside the restaurant, warning me not to embarrass her like this again. I attended the rest of the lunch in shock. That day I realized that the girl I had at my side wasn't my wife. She wasn't the girl I married anymore. My wife is now out of the house, celebrating a great year for the company, and I'm here at home writing this with the divorce papers in front of me. I don't think I can handle this situation anymore. I've tried lots and lots of times to talk to her, to tell her how I feel, to express that she has changed, that she's not the same woman I knew, but she just doesn't listen. She always says that she has no time and needs to work, or she tries to minimize the situation by saying that it's not true and that she never changed. She wanted kids, now she doesn't want them anymore, saying that they would rob her time from her career. She wanted to travel, now she doesn't want to do it, for the same reason. Is she really the same woman I married? But still, I can't bring myself to talk about divorce with her. Most likely because I hope that somewhere hidden inside her, there's still the woman I loved and still love, even if this doesn't seem like the case. Update 1. Well, after that business party, my wife didn't come back home. I tried contacting her since I was very worried, but she didn't pick up the phone, not even once. She came back home in the morning, exactly when I was about to leave for her workplace to ask about her. I asked her what happened, and she said she stayed at a coworker's house since she drank a lot, and she was in no condition to drive. Fair enough. I told her that she could have sent a text message to warn me, and that I would have gone to get her. Her response was, "With what? The Clio?" I stood there in silence, and she later said that she forgot about warning me. I asked how she was feeling, only to be answered in monosyllables. We minded our own business for a while, then she came to me and said she has something to discuss. I told her that I have something to discuss with her too. And well, would you look at that? She asked for a divorce. I wasn't expecting that at all. I asked her why, and her reply was that after talking to her friends, she understood that I wasn't fit to be her husband, that we have different values and different lifestyles, and that she deserves a man of similar worth compared to her. She was just waiting for the right time to bring it up, and after the party, she made up her mind. I'm going to be completely honest, that was a low blow, but I just smiled at her. I tried talking to her, proposing to separate for a while to see how things go. I even proposed couple therapy, but she was set on divorce. So I calmly told her everything I needed to say, from the fact that I was thinking about divorce too, to the fact that I felt like she changed, concluding by saying that I'm sure she will find an awesome man since I know her worth, having been her husband for more than 9 years, but that I know what I'm worth too. We decided to separate for the moment, and we will arrange the divorce later on, since she has no time now, but we have a verbal agreement on some things. I decided to go back to my hometown to relax and decide what's next for me. I should be able to regain my previous position in the hospital. Also, it's funny how she couldn't be bothered to have any discussion with me prior to this, but started adamantly arguing when talking about who was taking the dog. For context, we got him a month after moving, since she always wanted one and to keep me some company, but in 2 years, she probably spent the equivalent of 2 hours with him. I always took care of him, and well, he's been a more than loyal companion in those 2 years. So, she literally made a fuss about the fact that I couldn't take the dog with me, for maybe half an hour or so. I told her that I didn't care at all. I was taking him with me since she doesn't have time to care for him, and it was very strange for her to say those things when she didn't care even a bit about him for 2 years. So I packed the necessary items, and before leaving, I asked her if she was cheating on me, and she denied, so I will trust her on that. I feel calm, but inside I feel like I've lost an important piece of myself. The things she said didn't hurt me initially, however, the more I think about them, the more heartbroken I feel. But I'm trying to focus on nicer thoughts, like meeting one of my old friends whom I haven't seen in a long time. I'm still trying to process everything, it all happened so fast. Though I must say that seeing my dog so happy inside the Clio brightened up my mood a lot. He loves car rides. Even if things went down this road, I still wish her all the best. I could never forget what she did back then for me and, in general, in those 16 years spent together as a couple.